as part of our trek, we had to drive quite a long ways to get to the start of the trek, and we drove through a small village called Shigar, and in that village is a very small school that our trekking company is trying to establish. And there are 6.5 million children in Pakistan who have no access to schools or who do not attend schools. And you can't really, that whole thing is really impossible to understand until you get there and see the reality of it. Has anyone read like 3 Cups of Tea, the story of, yeah, and I've read that, and you read it and you kind of identify, but you have no idea how much you identify when it's put in front of your face. And so we stopped at this small village and we're out of our Jeep and ushered into this guy's home. This man here is part of our trekking company, and he has built 2 rooms onto his home. And we stood in the courtyard, and the kids had just come to school and were starting to sing their morning chants, and like something in that moment, I wish I could take you there. It's to see a lot of the kids were orphans, and they're standing there in their rags and they're barefoot and their little sandals, and they're singing their heart out. And they have walked a long way to get to this. Sounds like, like a story from the past, but they have walked an incredible distance just to get to this school. And we go inside the building. There's nothing in the building. They have a few of the kids have workbooks that are just have been used forever. There's not a pencil. There's not paper. There's the room and 2 chairs, and some of the 15-year-old girls were their teachers because they don't have money to pay a teacher, so they were just trying to teach themselves basically. And I had brought some supplies with me. I knew that our trekking company supported this school, and I had brought a few pencils and some paper, and I brought construction paper and scissors and crayons, and I was so clueless about what they really, really need. Like they didn't need crayons, and they didn't need construction paper, and they didn't need, most of them have probably never held a pencil. And that's right, and that's the reality. So I felt like I gave them something, but I felt really, really humbled by that, and it was like a break open in my mind that you really have no idea what the reality of education, of non-education is for people in other countries. So it stuck in my head, it stuck in my heart. Like I come from, I grew up in the Midwest, and I had as great of a childhood as you could have. I had pencils and paper and dolls and mud pies and the farm and tractors, and I look in the face of those kids, and they're not going home to play with a doll, and they probably, if they can learn how to write their name, it would be a really big deal for them. And it just, I don't know how to explain it really, it just broke something open in me that I knew I wasn't coming back the same person, and I will never be the same person that I was before I went there. And no, I can't save the world, but if I can give pencils to some little girl so she can write her name, that would be really, really cool. So thank you for coming, and if you have questions, I'd be more than happy to.
Can you say what you said when you did your presentation about how education is really the only way we're going to keep these kids from ending up in the hands of the Taliban?
Right. Later, I was talking to our guide, about the school and why were they doing, because, they could keep our money, and he said that really, if countries like the United States or other countries with wealth want to try to stop the Taliban, we're not going to stop it by doing what we are doing. The best way to stop it is through education. These kids, a lot of them are, like I said, some of them are orphans, and they come from families that we just have no concept of how they really live. They really, truly have nothing. And if those little boys are running around with nothing to do all day, and the Taliban comes and offers them a warm meal, and offers them companionship of the brotherhood, absolutely, they're going to take it. Absolutely, they're gonna go into that, and they can slowly teach them hatred and whatever else the Taliban teaches, because they're giving them a warm place to go, and they have no option, and they have no education to teach them anything different. And so, surely that's simplifying the solution to ending the Taliban. But in my heart, I really believe that is, that maybe he really has a piece of wisdom there. That if you give kids anywhere in the world a step up, a step out, a reason, they can make a choice where they don't really have, they just really don't have a choice. If someone's going to give you a warm meal and you haven't had one for a week, you're going to take the meal.
What are the 15-year-old girls teaching in the school?
When they were chanting and singing, and the little workbook that I looked at was like, it looked like they were teaching English, and Urdu is their language there. So, I don't honestly know what all they were trying to teach them, but I think mostly it was reading and letters. I didn't see like math or anything else. Like, I think they're just basically teaching them A, B, C, just really, really basic information. And our guide, he has a list of, it would be their dream to bring a computer and bust open the world to them, like what they could show them. It would be like astronomical, just the things that they could show them with that. But I think that the education, those girls were self-educated or educated from home too. They're not teachers, but they were trying at least to, teach them letters. And the kids were like so hungry. I think we were talking about this yesterday at a Solstice party. Why did these kids break open my heart? Like, I've been to Nepal. I've seen kids there. I've seen the Maasai children, and I don't know why this school, I don't know why these kids, but it did it, like absolutely point blank did it. And I think, and it doesn't matter, really, it doesn't matter why Pakistan. I think that part of it was, I saw their want, I saw them clutching, now I'm going to cry. I saw them clutching their workbooks, which really were just rags, and you felt the human desire to learn. Like you can see it in kids here when they go to, kids want to learn, and that's universal, and they just don't have the opportunity as much as we do. And I think that's what it was, is that I saw that in them, in those little bare feet running over the, coming to this school when they could have just stayed home and, or maybe it was, they could have stayed home and they would have been working all day. So maybe the school is the lesser of the two evils, I don't know. But there was some piece of it there that I saw, the eagerness in the kids to really be at the school, to really, and some of the pictures show, there was a desire there that I saw.
Would they need a satellite hookup? Would that be the only way to get access to the internet there? Would be a sat phone?
I would imagine,
okay. Yeah,
because, the village is like way up there.
Yeah.
And it would take a bit to get it there. But there are cell phones there, and they do have computers. It would just be getting things hooked up and set up to make it happen. And they have random electricity. Random, really random. But
Kevin, could you say how much money we've raised so far?
Yeah, we're really close to $1,500.
You guys have no You really have no idea how much $1,500 is in Pakistani money. This is like, they can do incredible things. It's a fortune to them. It is absolutely a fortune to them. If you hand them a $5 bill, you have handed them more than they might make in 3 months or more. Like, it really is third world. And that amount of money is like, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone who came. Thank you from them. If they would, I know that they would say, Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you.
You plan to return?
Oh, if I could go. Yes, I will need to go back to Pakistan. You know, if I had the money, I'd be getting on the plane soon. But there's a piece of my heart that will always be there. And why Pakistan? You know, could it have not been a country that was a little easier? No, it's Pakistan. And that's fine. Yeah, I would love to go back, and I would love to teach. You know, I don't know if I can teach, but you know, I know English. They know Urdu. We'd make it somehow. Yeah, it'd be really cool.
And how many students approximately?
I think there's, you know, it's so random. They maybe 40s-ish, like off and on. And this school was because it's not government run. The boys and girls came together. There are very, very few government-run schools there, but there are a few. And because it's a Muslim country, most schools are segregated. And most schools are for boys, but there are some schools for girls. Malala, do you know that story? She's trying to education for women, which you know is really important. But I see education for women and men in a country like that as being equally important. But I think probably around 40 students overall, more or less.
Where did the guy who built the school get the money for building the school?
You know, I don't know. He spoke no English, and so we were just trying to converse with him through our guide. Yeah. And he seems to be a very important man.
He looks like one.
Yeah, he had a little bit nicer clothing on than everyone, and he traveled with us from Skardu. He rode in the van with us, and everywhere we went, everyone knew him, and everyone was very respectful to him. So I don't know what his standing was, but obviously he wasn't a regular village person. I never could get a clear understanding of, you know, where he from his home. I think that, I mean, he's a farmer like everyone else there. He had mulberry trees and weeds and was doing that too, but he was also something more, and I don't fully know what his standing was, but I know that he was an important person.
When you were talking about apricots last time, which I absolutely love, I think I could live on them.
You would do well there.
I bought some good Turkish organic apricots the other day. I found it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was just wondering if is it possible to buy apricots from them? I was thinking about some kind of way for them to make money.
You know, maybe I should pursue that. That's interesting that you say that, because
or mulberries.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, apricots are like a staple food there. Some of them actually survive on that, may be just about all they eat the entire winter. And there's just apricot trees everywhere. And the time of year that we were there, they were harvesting them, and they weave these big, huge trays and then they just lay the apricots in them and dry them. And that's what they eat.
That would be my question, is that are they just getting enough to get them through the winter? And so if you're giving them money but you're taking their food, you know, what's the situation there? Because I have heard stories about that, people going through places like Pakistan and wanting to bargain with the people for their food because they had money, and the guide saying, actually no, you can't do that because then they won't have enough food to make it through the winter. So you'd have to look and see if there's extra for them to
That would be an interesting question. And I was thinking along the same lines, is our guide, his wife weaves these, and you know, could you weave these and I sell them for you and I send you the money? I don't know how all that would work. It's hard because I speak no Urdu,
Yeah.
and they speak limited English, and so sometimes I ask them questions, and you know the understanding just isn't. I do a little bit better with our guide. He. It may take a few emails, but we finally really connect. So I may do better on that. But yeah, I mean certainly to bring them some way to make money is just incredible. Like in this part of it was in northern Pakistan, so what I'm saying probably does not apply to all of Pakistan, but in northern Pakistan, the only source of outside income is us, is trekkers, and so if we don't come, they don't have money, they don't get a job, and so the competition is really fierce. To be a porter or to be a guide that's their option. So to give them another way to make money would be incredible.
It sounded like the logistics are obviously a big issue, but what I was thinking of is if you lived the winter on apricots and had money, you could buy
other food.
kinds of food.
Mm-hmm.
So with that thought in mind, not to replace money or apricots with money.
That's a good question. I mean,
eat.
I can certainly bring that up with him, and yeah.
The other thing I was thinking about is kiva.org. I don't know if you've looked into that. It's micro-lending, and so they're set up to create micro-loans for people who, so it would be like just to get the materials to start with for making all these scarves, so they're small loans that people can give, $10, $20, $30 to get people the startup costs so they can start their business and then they pay it back. And so that's an established website.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so that's another that's another one. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And it is, just mailing things back and forth is so crazy expensive. It's just, I've mailed a few things to our guide, and certainly I'll continue doing it, but it's ridiculously expensive and a process that you have to go through.
That's what I was wondering, because when I went home, I found some things. I have a hat and some pencils.
Yes, I'm taking.
And I'm just wondering if you.
Yeah, I'm collecting hats. We've been knitting like crazy. So if anyone has a hat, you want to just bring it to Sam and Kevin. I'm getting a box. I'd like to have 40 or 50 hats to send so that all the kids could have a hat. So I'm collecting them, and I've got a bag of pencils and that I'm going to be sending another box of pencils and paper.
And $5 for shipping.
and an astronomical amount for shipping, but it's whatever.
So you bring those supplies to them?
Yeah, you can bring it to us and we'll get it to her. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we've been knitting like crazy, but then it got Christmas and they had but we'll get going again here.
How about things like socks? I mean, you can't sell or send shoes, I guess.
Yeah, shoes are difficult, and they they really don't wear shoes. They wear sandals.
But don't
amazingly, even in the snow.
Winter?
Wow.
But socks maybe. When they
But
wear
socks,
yeah,
socks and
it's
hats
not cold
and
enough.
stuff like that they don't have, or if they do have them, they're incredible. Like they're almost ready to fall off, but some are just still on their feet.
How about duct tape for fixing your sandals?
But they don't have duct tape. I mean, the reality is they don't have duct tape.
Yeah,
They have duct tape. They're right. When it wears out, we put some duct tape on.
It's the real nice ones with the pattern on them.
Yeah. No, they're the best at at making things. Some of the stuff that our guides did just to make their backpacks work was like, whoa, really ingenious. That's a cool idea. Out of necessity. Is there another question?
Becky, you talked about your heart busting open, and at the bottom of my email it says, the quote is, if it's not the path of the heart, it's not the path. And so I'm interested in your heart busting open and the path that this now is taking you down. And like the reality of what it means for you to be back here and what it looks like, the difference in what you were doing before, what you release, and now what you embrace. And that really is what I just, because the busting of your heart with those children and them reflecting something in you that is really truly you, and you.
And what do I do with that?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Right. I don't know. it's like this huge struggle that I'm stuck in. For some of you, I've worked the same job for 30 years. I've loved my job. It's been a passion. I'm blessed to have had that job. I loved it with all my heart, and now I just struggle every day. I force myself to go to this job. And it's the struggle we all face, I'm there now because of money. And it is such a massive shift in me. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do with that. And I feel, this is huge. I don't know. I know that for me to continue there is wrong, because I know there's something else that I'm being called and asked to do. And what do you I don't know. I don't know.
Teach.
Yeah, I really don't know. Here, I'm this little Minnesota farm girl, I have this good life, and I hiked and I trekked, and got a job I love, and now it's like, wham, whoa, wake up, hello, there's something in the next half of your life that you are being asked to do, and it's a really hard time for me. So this makes it really sweet. Like feeling this support from you guys is incredible. Yeah, it's one of those hello middle age or whatever, It was not what I was expecting from Pakistan. I was gonna go and I was trek and see these mountains, and
How many kids come to the school?
I should email him and ask him that. The day that we were there, I think there were around 40 from what I've counted. But like I said, I don't think that for some of them it's an everyday thing. Yeah, it may just be whenever they can, and if they're not needed at home, kind of thing. Certainly, the desire that I saw on their faces, if the school could offer more, I think the desire would be there for the kids to come. Yeah. But just the fact that they were trying on their own to do this school also was a part of it. Like, we're not sitting here waiting for a handout. We're not asking for a handout. We're trying. The guy built these 2 rooms, and so I don't have anything to put in the rooms. That's cool. The kids will still come. And his wife was feeding them. And so it felt like, they're really trying with everything they have to make it real. And that's, that was a feel-good thing too, that they're not asking you to hand it out to us, but they're trying.
What feedback did you get? You've sent something already to them? I wonder what kind of feedback you got.
It's such a different culture than ours that their responses are really reserved. May Allah be with you, we pray for you, things like that, more than, oh my God, thank you. like we would, yay, thank you, Anne, that's so cool. They're not like that. They're very self-contained and very reserved, but I feel the genuine, we're sending prayers to you, we thank you, so it's, I guess I'm just looking at it like, yeah, they really are grateful. They just express it in a really different, in their culture,
So they won't be insulted by getting a whole bunch of hats.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, before we went, I asked that because I was taking shirts for our porters, and I asked our guys, is it okay if I bring these shirts? Am I going to insult them? Am I going to insult you by bringing my old clothes and handing them out? And I could send Sam and Kevin that email that if I hope I still have it.
I thought I forwarded it to you. You didn't get it with the email? You didn't get it?
I probably didn't look at all the links.
Oh,
I got
okay.
the email, but I didn't.
Okay, I thought I forwarded you what you had said.
Yeah, his response was like, oh, no, absolutely not. You have no idea the poverty level of these people. They are not offended to take these things from you at all. They thank you. Yeah, they're not offended by it at all. But that was my question too. I don't want to go with a big rich American saying, here, take my old shirt, and, but he said, no, you can't think that, they don't think that way, that you're giving them something that they truly treasure. Yeah. So I don't, yeah.
Is the time limit for the girls as far as being married off? Like there's some older girls in the pictures that maybe 10.
Yes.
Are they right at the cusp of
right, those,
education?
Yeah, like an average age for girls to get married in northern Pakistan is 11 to 13. Which, and right, your mind just goes, and when I asked our guide, just talking with him, like, because I think he was 32, and he has he has a 20-year-old son. Right. And I'm doing the math, and I'm not really good at math. And I'm like, how old were you when you got married? They're like 13 and 11. And the American face, I'm not like, I got that look like, oh my, really? And he said, no, that is what we do here. And then I kind of calmed myself down, and okay, it's not a 30-year-old marrying an 11-year-old. They were similar in age, so, it's not that, yeah, but that's really what, and he has, I never could understand if he has 6 or 7 children, but he has 6 or 7. I think he doesn't count the 7th one now that she's married. Or something odd like that. Like, you have 6 or 7 children, and 6. But then when he writes their names down, he has 7. But she's married, so
he's just counting dependents, maybe not.
Maybe he's I don't know, but that is really hard for us to, like, 11. No, you should be playing with dolls, and it's so hard to us not put our cultural judgment on that, and is that right? I don't know. Is that wrong? A part of my brain says that's absolutely wrong, but I don't live in Pakistan. So, he loves his wife. He loves his family. They're proud of their children. Like, there was one of our porters who only had 1 kid, and that was a real sadness. There was just some big sadness about him that he couldn't really convey, because everyone else had 6 or 7, or like that's pride to them. Their family is a huge source of pride, and that's you have to feed all of those, Ilias. You have to, if you have more children, you have to feed them, but that's not how they think. That's they're proud of their children, blessed. Their children are blessings. Yeah, I'd be a little crazy if I had 6 or 7, or a little crazy. Yeah. So, other questions?
What's the name of the village again?
Shigar, Shigar, is where this school is. It's halfway from Skardu to Ascoli, out there.
I have to get a map.
Yeah, Shigar village, and it's a big enough village that I think it is on maps. That you could Google it and you'd come up with Shigar village. And also because it's mountaineers go through there a lot, and so. You might be able to Google it that way. There's stories about Shigar.
Becky, thanks for letting us all be a part of this with you. I mean, my mother actually read the email about your trip, your experience, and she doesn't go online. She doesn't do any kind of an online donation thing. She got my sister on the phone and had her set it up and put a donation through for her, and she did. And
for $100.
For $100. A month on a fixed income, and that's a big deal for her. And we've got people that donated from around the country we don't even know.
Actually, around the world, we've got donations from around the world. And for people who are watching this video after the fact, we're going to be putting a link to the donate. The link will still be up even after this event, so people can still continue to donate. So we'll put that attached to the video. So you will probably get more donations. But yeah.
So as your heart is breaking open, it's actually
everybody else
everyone
gets
else.
gets to help.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for coming.